Bowl eligibility, win number 6, big win for our football program, and congratulations to not only our locker room but everybody. I think everybody makes this thing go, and that's the media, Pirate Nation, fan base, and everybody that's a part of game day. And there's so many people out there, administration, Chancellor Rogers, Brian Bailey's back there, let his phone ring. So, but there's so many people that's a huge part of making things happen around here, and just want to say thank you to them and thank you to our fans. What an awesome day for homecoming. Talked to our players earlier just about how special this place is, and you see so many just different groups gathering and coming back to see friends and visit and hang out. And we talked about that is really like what you develop here as a student or a student athlete. Those relationships last a lifetime, and that's what was going on in our locker room. The way they play their tails off for each other, and it's pretty special. And congrats again to our 3 Hall of Famers and letter winners. And I said this to Shane yesterday. Shane Carden said, "Hey, thank you guys for what you've done for this program." And Shane says, "Hey, I really think what this program did for us." And I think that was so special. Him saying that just hit home. And I think that's how everybody in our locker room feels, and just blessed to be a part of this thing. And I thought we obviously got the win, and just told our guys at halftime we're up by 21. And we weren't happy with ourselves. We weren't satisfied, and that's just because we've raised the bar. The goal of this program not just to get to a bowl game. The goal of the program is much more than that, and we want to play at a high level. And we thought we played pretty good in the first half at times, probably about 25 minutes of the first half, and the last 5 kind of did some silly things there. But we got to put our foot on the gas and go finish that thing and go be a good football team. And we're on the verge of it, but we got to keep pushing through. And we got a big game next week against Memphis. We got 1 loss in the conference race right now. I think there's a 5-way tie at the top, and we got to keep taking care of the Pirates. We can't worry about this team or tiebreakers or that team. It's just worry about the Pirates and worry about us taking care of us each and every single day, and go get a win against Memphis next week. So this time I'm going to open up for questions.
Let's say each win makes each week's bigger.
Yeah.
Next week Memphis. You just talk about the importance of that game and last home game and what type of atmosphere you might have.
What a blessing it is to be playing in November. We talk about they remember November. Be playing games, third to last game of the year, and playing in November, and they're meaningful games, and you're tied for first place. And you're going to get a good, very, very good football team who's ranked 22nd, 23rd in the country. I'm sure they'll probably drop after this past weekend, but they're still a good football team. They beat Arkansas early in the year, and I'm sure they'll bounce back like most good teams do. And we got to be prepared, and we got to focus on the Pirates and be ready to ride. And, that's a special atmosphere tonight. We need another special one next week to get this thing done together. And I think that's the biggest word I use is together, us. And that's just not our locker room, but that's everybody, making that thing rock and make Dowdy the special place that it is.
What happened against Charlotte the last 2 years? How much motivation was that?
Yeah, it's tough not to focus just on Charlotte last 2 years. It's definitely in the back of our mind. But I think if you do that, if you focus on somebody else, you're going to be prepared for them. But our focus really has to be on, how we approach things, how we do it. Yes, those last 2 years it really bothers you and it really makes you want to stick one in there at the end of the game. But I don't think that's the right thing to do. But it's got to be about us and our preparation, our focus, and that's what I told our guys. That's where we got to be at.
Tamir has been through a lot.
Yeah.
So what was it like to see him get that pick 6?
Well, especially after I go for it on 4th down, and probably should have punted the ball. And you go for it on 4th down right there. You're thinking, hey, we can keep moving the chains, and I've really got a lot of confidence in our offense right now, and I got a lot of confidence in our defense as well. I think that's you're taking a little risk reward there, and then Tamir turns around, pick 6, and just the way his growth throughout his career here, and to have that play. Was pretty special, and I think he's playing at a high level right now. And just super proud of him and the young man he's become and the football player he's become as well.
Coach, not only the Hall of Famers, but last year's team being in the house as well.
Yeah.
What did it mean to kind of put on that kind of performance in front of your first team?
I love those guys. They're so happy to be back here, and it was bitter for them kind of watching Charlotte too. They every one of those guys come off that field. They just got their ring, beat NC State in the Military Bowl. But every one of them, as they come off that field after getting that ring, all they want to talk about is, hey, make sure you go finish this. Make sure you go get the win here. And that's just such a special group. I owe them everything. And I think I've said that several times. And, they helped lay the foundation for this thing. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And it's good to have them back today and just see them smiling and proud to be Pirates.
How do you think Caden's doing now? Four total TDs tonight, and it seems like he's protecting the ball for the most part. But how do you think he's doing right now as you can see?
Pretty damn good. Caden Hauser's special. He is a special young man. He's a special player, and we obviously got to go finish this season the right way and do the right thing every single day. But he has a chance to be one of those guys, no different than Shane Carden one day, in my mind. I think it's a long ways from talking about those things, but I think that's his potential. And we got to do everything we can to keep him around here. And this crazy world, it is what it is, and that position especially is a lot of stress. But the best thing he's doing is not worrying about any of that. He's not worrying about next semester, December, any of that stuff, or what could happen. He's worrying about every single day and making sure he gives his team an opportunity to go win a football game, and he plays his best football, and he certainly is.
Homecoming, Hall of Fame, somebody got being big favorites. Like, was it a hard week to kind of keep the distractions out of it all?
Yeah, the rat poison. Everybody, all they talk about is score 70. They see the point spread, and point spread doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Like, you still got to go line up and play the game, especially when you're playing an in-state, in-state opponent, rival, conference, all that stuff. Those things. That's what ESPN or Vegas or whoever it is thinks. But you still got to line down and play after play. So you got to block that out, and you really got to focus on your preparation. I thought the guys did a pretty good job of it for the most part. Thought we relaxed a little bit during parts of the game, but then we bounce back and we get a little juice going, a little energy going. I like to see us finish a couple of those drives. We turned a couple of those field goals into 7, and you're sitting there exactly where you need to be and feel really good about it. I'd like to keep a couple of those obviously defensive touchdowns off the board too, which if we don't hold them, if we give more than 2 points, I'm upset anyways. But and that's kind of where we're at. And so I thought we did a pretty decent job of that. And then those field goals, I thought Nick Mazzy, he continues to show you that he's an elite kicker and does a really good job. Strong leg. Conrad kicked off tonight. Thought Everett's leg's just getting a little tired. Wasn't hitting it, come off his foot as well. So we let Conrad kick off, and Conrad did a really good job of that. The punting situation, Tommy, in practice, he can punt it out of Dowdy and over Elmhurst and over to the, Panther or whatever. And then we got there in the game, he likes to half swings it, so we got to get that thing going. And between him and Ryan, we got to be more consistent there. Right now we're consistent, but we're not consistently good. We're consistently average. So we got to work on that thing.
How much fun are you having watching Mike Wright and the way they use him in the offense?
We're using him defensively, special teams. I don't know what you're talking about offense. I love Mike Wright. In this, you work to a point in your season, and it's it's frustrating because you can't get it clicking, you can't get it going, you can't get it executing, and then at a certain time it does, and it's just like bam, there we start going. And we had a few falters tonight, no doubt, but that's when you those things start clicking, those guys start moving, and you see the happiness in their face, and that's when you really fall in love with your team and you really enjoy it. And Mike Wright is that way every single day. He is a guy that, he just brings a joy to everybody's face. Just when he walks in a room, he lights it up and really enjoy. He had a player too where, the savviness to throw the ball away when he could take a tackle for a loss is pretty sweet there too. But just the way we're using them on offense, Coach Baker and those guys, and put them in different packages, and how tough that is for defenses to prepare, and then special teams, and then defensively, he played a third down package, put him in a few snaps on regular downs tonight as well. Just shows you how versatile he is and how good of an athlete he is.
The explosive they hit in the passing game, how much of that was on you guys versus? They made some great plays too. So how do you balance that as a coach?
Yeah, I think the cover 0 there on 4th down. We didn't get that thing adjusted out. I was actually trying to run up and call a timeout. We didn't get it adjusted the way we should have. We overloaded a side. We should have been balanced up. We got enough to get home, and hopefully you get home before we get a chance to get that out or make a bad throw. And in hindsight, and I told Coach Aldridge, it's on me, because I was yelling, bring them. And you really probably should, play a post play or play a little something when you're up 21. You don't want to necessarily zero out when you're up 21, and that's on me. So I got to own that one. I'll take care of it. And then the cover 3 ball right before the 2 minute. That's just we're silly right there. Thankfully, it's in a situation in a game that doesn't kill you, but we got to grow from that. then the other one was cover 3 as well. And we got to do a better job in the post there. We've been on a dig and those things.
One more question? Anybody?
Well, Coach, you talking about, you got to grow from that. Just how much have you seen yourself grow from where you're at in this position last year till now?
Yeah, last year, I was trying to figure out how much air goes in the ball or who the starting quarterback was going to be or, all those little things. But now I'm having a lot of fun. I really am. It's a good group. It's a special place to be. And I'm enjoying it. I find myself sometimes missing the call on defense, but I'm enjoying serving young men in our program, serving this university, serving our administration, our fan base. And, I'm excited about the future as well and where we're going. I think we are in the early stages of where we really want to go with this thing and what we have the potential to do here and what we can do, not just only this year, but down the road too. So excited about that, excited about next week versus Memphis at 4 o'clock. And let's pack that thing out and make it get a little rowdy and dowdy. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.